From stealing hearts to stealing property, that's what Adva Levy will stand trial for. The adult model and influencer known as Mia Ventura facing 6 felony charges, accused of using dating apps to target and burglarize wealthy older men and younger women. The circumstances similar to those that might play out in an elder abuse case, according to former prosecutor R.J. Dreiling.
Some of the facts are a little bit different here. It's the same kind of principle, which is someone working themselves into someone's life, taking money from them under the auspices of consent.
In a place like LA, where relationships can be very transactional, how do prosecutors determine who is a sugar baby and who's a criminal?
That's going to be the ultimate issue in the case. I expect the defense to argue that these individuals, when they got into a relationship with this social media influencer, a much younger, much more attractive woman, knew what they were getting into.
The allegations of deception stretching beyond Southern California, with police reports filed against Levy in Nevada, Florida, and even overseas in France and Italy.
Even though LA County might not have jurisdiction over the cases overseas or in different states, they can actually bring in those witnesses to come in and testify in their case to show this wasn't just a one-time thing, that this was part of a broader course of conduct.
She's a female Tinder swindler. I mean, that's kind of what this is.
Michael Sartain is commending the LAPD's police work that's now led to the felony charges, Levy appearing on his podcast, Access Vegas, in 2024.
She stole stuff from the purses that were in my green room while the people were on my show. That's not simply a criminal. That is a kleptomaniac. The honors of the Apostle El's Great Millstone, peace and citation to a hopeful elect, Shalom. And as you can see from the video, this woman named Adva Levy, she pretty much was considered to be an influencer and an OnlyFans model coming from LA. They said she's of Israeli descent, which, she appears to be a Middle Eastern or so. From what it looks like, but only the Most High knows what nationality she goes back to, of course, because can't necessarily go off by looks. But anyways, it shows that she pretty much has got caught up by the authorities recently, like around this week, in the around the 20th week of March or so, that she got caught up. And they originally put out a news article about this woman around sometime in fall of last year, like around October or so, about the schemes that she tries to pull, with old men, and how she tries to act like she's a travel companion or so, or try to set them up on dating apps. How she tries to run those schemes and try to lure old men so that she could end up burglarizing them. But yeah, anyways, I'm just gonna get into this article real quick and then just bring out the scriptures a little bit and make this lesson edifying. So it says, LA model and influencer charged with using dating apps to burglarize homes of elderly wealthy victims. Suspect Adva Levy allegedly posed as a girlfriend to steal cash, gold, and designer items from victims across Beverly Hills and West Hollywood. The Los Angeles model and social media influencer is facing multiple felony charges after allegedly using dating apps to burglarize the homes of elderly people, prosecutors said. Adva Levy, 27, who is also known as Mia Ventura and is a former Penthouse feature model, allegedly posed as a girlfriend and travel companion to gain access to victims' homes before stealing cash, gold, and high-end designer items, according to Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. She has also been described in media reports as an OnlyFans model. Levy, who law enforcement said drove high-end cars like a Mercedes and a Porsche, allegedly targeted victims including wealthy older men and younger women in Westlake Village, West Hollywood, Los Angeles, and Beverly Hills. She previously pleaded not guilty and is scheduled to be arraigned on April 6th. She is currently out of custody on an ankle monitor and has been ordered to stay away from the alleged victims. Prosecutors said Lavie carried out the scheme between 2023 and 2025, allegedly using dating apps to cultivate relationships with victims before gaining access to their homes. Lavie was held to answer on March 23rd on 6 felony counts, including 2 counts of unauthorized use of personal identifying information, 2 counts of grand theft, and 2 counts of first-degree residential burglary. It's not grand theft auto, just grand theft. It says, if convicted on all counts, Lavie faces up to 11 years and 8 months in state prison. This ruling means the evidence in this case will now be presented before a jury, Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan J. Houchman said. At her trial, we will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this defendant exploited trust built through online relationships to gain access to victims' homes and steal from them. Her ability to deceptively influence others, whether in person or online, has now come to an end, Houchman said. In an October special bulletin, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department released a poster of Lavie along with images of the high-end cars authorities said she drove. The vehicles include a white Mercedes-Benz coupe sports car and a black Porsche SUV. Michael Sartain, host of the podcast Access Vegas, said that while a guest on the show, Lavie went into the green room and stole credit cards and cash from the purses of all the female panelists, according to KTLA. She got up at the 45-minute mark and she was gone for 45 minutes and just went through everyone's bag, he said. So without further ado, I'll bring out some scriptures. The Lord will make this less edifying. So this is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiastes, chapter 25, verse, I'll start at 19. It says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So, with that being said, this woman, she's wicked to the point where she was preying on, elderly rich men. And they say she even, stole from other women as well. And, it's to the point where it's like, she has been doing this for like 2 years, and let's not forget, like, these women, even from, let's say, a young age, like going to school, sometimes they will even use their cuteness and their charms and their good looks as a way to try to get a guy to give up some of his substances to her or buy her something after school, you know what I mean? So just imagine what she's been doing even before the 2 years of actually doing this particular type of crime, which is going to old men's, homes. And after you have established a relationship and established some form of trust, with them, that you went as far as like actually stealing their most valuable possessions, and pretty much making a living off of that, as well as, her being a model and also being an influencer on top of that. And more than likely what caught up to her with these particular crimes is, of course, when you feel like you get away with it, you get too greedy and it gets to your head, and that's pretty much what got her. And in verse 21 it says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. Right, and that's the reason why, like, when it's coming to dealing with a woman, you have to be very wise about the decisions that you make when it's coming to dealing with these women. And you gotta pretty much keep your head on a swivel with them, because sometimes they can even use their beauty to even lure you into a trap where they get other men to run up in your crib and pretty much burglarize your home, you know what I mean, and try to bind you while they take your belongings. Some women were even known for doing that, for working for certain gangs and getting some men who got money or who recently just got money, like they win a lottery or some shit, and then they go as far as getting those men set up that way. Some women they do these things and they pretty much go as far as getting away because of the fact that they act like they were innocent, while the guys that committed the crime they pretty much use her as the bait. Shit like that goes on. This is why I don't find it as a bad idea for men to go as far as dealing with prostitutes, because you know what I mean. Sometimes, like, when you have money, you got it to where some woman will even go as far as even getting you set up by, trying to set up a hitman so they could take all your possessions and your belongings and just live, scot-free without having to be in bond to a man. And I remember this, there was this particular situation where this boxer named Raymond Sosa, I remember he even went as far as having to fake his death because his wife, he tried to set his wife up in the sense of seeing that, she was trying to get a hitman to set him up, and then he went as far as like setting up his death to make it look like, the hitman killed her, that the hitman killed him, and it turned out to be a sting operation, and she ended up getting, I think it was like 25 years or so, that she ended up going to prison because of the fact that she tried to, off her husband with the hitman, and the hitman happened to be an FBI agent all along, or undercover, police officer, something to that particular field of operation that, particular officer worked in. So, yeah, to show you that even when you get with these women and they eventually, like, you marry with them and, you in a relationship with them and all that, and they see you got all that money, and they eventually become, Americanized because you're in this country, America. So they seen how other women live their life, and, they feel like they want to be free from your control. Sometimes, they will get the urge to actually want to unalive you and go as far as taking all your belongings. And this is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 26. It says, "And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands is bands. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her." And this is the reason why, if you had a hard getting woman and all that, sometimes when it's coming to Jake, you might have Jake that want, the best of the best or so, which don't get me wrong, you got a lot of Jakes out there surprisingly with a low self-esteem, which I don't know how the hell they could get with somebody that looked like, a 1 or 2 or 3, just because they have, no ambition, and they want to live off of a woman or whatever the case is, which that's the worst thing you could ever do. But, you got some Jakes like that, and they'll deal with that temporarily until they get better. But me, I would never, do something like that. But anyways, this is just talking about, you got, some guys out there amongst, Israel that, you always want to find yourself as a good, fine woman, but, you have a hard time doing so. Sometimes you got to consider it a blessing in a sense, because the Lord is just saving you from, traps in a way. And as wicked as a lot of these women are nowadays, it ain't no different than getting, a prostitute, because, you see, you find these women on fucking dating apps claiming they want a relationship. A lot of times they're worse than the prostitutes. At least the average prostitute, at least she would, sell herself for a decent rate per 30 minutes or per hour, in a brothel, or maybe doing an out call, pretty much, of course, when you go either in an establishment that's set up as a massage parlor and that's actually a brothel, or you go, whether it's in a hotel or a motel or whatever, and you set up some alcohol service or whatever the case is for them to come to you. You know what I mean? You still gotta, of course, like, be on guard and, still keep your head on a swivel as much as possible with dealing with women in general. But I'm saying, like, on average, a lot of times, when it's coming to dealing with, a prostitute or whatever the case is, You gotta, of course, when it's coming to dealing with women in general, you always gotta, be on your P's and Q's and, keep your guard up at all times. But at least I could say, like, one thing about, a lot of prostitutes on average, they are more sincere than these regular average women, A lot of time, these average women that claim they want to be in a committed relationship, that are on these dating apps, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the ones that go to college, or the ones that maybe didn't go to college, but, still, they work a 9-to-5 job, or some of them in this case are actually a model or an influencer of some sort, and they claim they want to be on online to try to find the right partner or whatever the case is, dating to find the right one. A lot of times they're full of shit because they most likely have multiple guys. They got multiple options out there. You know what I mean? They got pretty much a whole bunch of simps sending them money. They got a whole bunch of guys out there giving them rides, giving them, gifts of some sort, giving them like free shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you best believe they got hundreds of men out there texting them almost every day, sending them good morning text messages or hello, the same praises that they're giving these women. And that's the same reason why that they don't, take a lot of men seriously, because of shit like that. That's the reason why they just look at men as an asset and they're, as a cash cow. And they really respect men who challenge their wicked ways. Because, when it's coming to, these women, you pretty much gotta, of course, put your foot down and call them out for their bullshit when you see it. And it's no different than confronting a kid about their misbehavior. As the saying goes, you give an inch, they take a mile. Just imagine how much miles they take it, especially when they say you got it like that. And another precept says, because even though, like, Proverbs chapter 6, I'm gonna start off with that, verse 24 to 25, that could go into, false philosophies, the strange woman, but, it could also be applied to wicked women as well, in a physical sense, which that's what I'm getting at with the physical aspect of the scripture with this precept. It says in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 24, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. Yep. Because of course, she has artificial aesthetics to make herself look and appear beautiful. And, she's of course going to, look that way to pretty much, to deceive you. And, the flattery of the tongue of the strange woman, that's like the deceit that she gives you, the gaslight and the, pretty much like, it's that sweet talk that people give you when you call them out and you confront them for their bullshit. And, they're going to eventually try to find ways around, just to tell you certain things to make it seem like it's not what it looks like, when she cheats on you, whatever the case is, or, she's doing something and, you have that instinct in you as a man that's making you feel something that's not right, and you are trying to find out like what's up, and she's pretty much dissuading your thoughts. That's her being manipulative. In verse 26 it says, for by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and adulterers will hunt for their precious life. So she may not have went as far as, maybe I would say, like robbing these men to where they become so broke that they lose everything, but let's just say that if maybe come to a point where if she were to marry them and then try to act, out in a way where she would try to like act unruly and insubordinate and anarchical against their authority, she could have favor of the court system to go as far as taking those men's assets and after the divorce, or even having kids with those men and just putting them on child support. And that's what these women will do. And for the most part, you gotta blame the system that Esau has set up to give these women the ammo to go as far as doing these things. The system is wicked. They do all this shit to really make sure that our women, and just women of all nations in general, to make sure that they have this mindset of always getting with, the top, how I put it, let's say maybe the top 20% of men out there. And when I'm talking about like the top 20% of men, I mean, like men who reach the mark of being, let's say, when I say 6-figure earner, they gotta probably be like $250,000, as a, net worth as a salary or so and above, from your millionaires, multi-millionaires, and so on and so forth. Like, yeah, you got the average mindset of a woman who appears to be like a 6 to a 10, and even some of them that are ugly as all hell, that are nowhere near 8, 9, or 10. They have that mindset as well, thinking that they deserve men of that high caliber, that have such a high net worth. So yeah, that's the mindset of women that's in the first world country, especially as in America. They feel like they're entitled to that shit. So yeah, that's pretty much it right there. The point has been made for the most part. Hopefully she gets her ass convicted, and all the felonies and charges that she had pretty much on her case, I hope, they throw the whole book on her and, get this bitch, arrested and have her serve in prison for a very long time, as long as possible. But other than that, whoever made this edifying, let's give all glory, praise, honor to Adonai, Yahweh, Bashem, Shabbat, Malak, Yahweh, Shabbat, Bashem, Kakadash, double honor to the apostles, Elsbury, Millstone, peace, citation, full, like, Shalom.